I just read through the entire system prompts for Claude Code and Cursor, and in this video I'll walk through the exact lessons that I learned from analyzing these system prompts and the lessons that you can apply today to massively improve how you use these tools. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design, and I've helped hundreds of people learn AI coding tools to build and launch real AI businesses. And with that said, let's jump straight into the system prompts and see what we can learn. So a little while ago, this repository went a little bit viral, and this was earlier on in 2025. I know this is 2026 now, and this seems like almost an age in terms of AI progress, but this continues to be updated since then and has continued to get stars over time as well. I want to talk about this because this is basically a repository of all of the system prompts from all of the leading AI tools out there, including a bunch of AI coding tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download these prompts and we're going to put them into ChatGPT and Claude and basically just ask it to analyze these system prompts for leading tools like Claude Code and Cursor, so we can understand a little bit better how these tools work and if there's any ways that we can change how we work with AI coding tools like Claude Code and Cursor to basically make our own experiences with using those tools even better. And if you don't know what a system prompt is, basically a system prompt for an AI tool is a prompt that gets sent basically with your message, a set of instructions before you've sent anything to the LLM that basically tells it how to behave and gives it a set of instructions as to what it should be doing. So what I'm expecting in these system prompts is basically going to be some instructions and some behaviors for how these AI coding tools should work when you're using them to write code to build software and to build any of your projects that you're working on. So I downloaded this, and what I'm going to do is I've got all of the files here, and we're basically just going to open these prompts. So this is the Claude Code system prompt, for example. So this is the instructions that basically the Anthropic team have written for Claude Code to tell it how to work. We're going to copy and paste these system prompts. So if I'm just going to take all of this, copy and paste it, I'm going to go over to ChatGPT 5.2 thinking. I've written here is the system prompt for AI coding agent Claude Code. Can you review this and identify anything that might be interesting, useful, counterintuitive, or help anyone building software with AI tools or non-technical people learning Claude Code? Break down why each of these points might be useful and how to use them in practice. And then we're going to say, here's the system prompt. And I've just copied and pasted the system prompt in here, so we can start to figure out what this system prompt does, how it works, and if there's anything from this that will help us in our AI coding journey. So let's break down some things that we can learn from this system prompt. So we've got here defensive security only. It's a hard product boundary. So this is more of an enterprise one, so I don't think we're going to learn too much from that. Never generate or guess URLs is surprisingly powerful. Most assistants freely invent links. This prompt forbids that, which dramatically cuts confidently wrong outputs. So Claude Code, this is maybe part of the reason why Claude Code works so well compared to other tools. In CLI context, a bogus URL is worse than useless. It wastes time and it can be unsafe. So this is helping Claude Code have better output, basically. So teach users to paste the URL they want to help with. So this is maybe why, and this is one tip if you're using Claude Code or any other coding agents, basically, why pasting in documentation for other tools or tech that you're using is super, super useful. So I would always say if you're building with something like Convex for your database or Superbase for your database, or Clerk for your authentication, to paste in the URLs to the documentation. It can go and search and find those, but if you give it specific URLs, it's going to have a better time at going and searching through those documents. It also forces a doc first behavior. So this prevents hallucinating features and keeps answers aligned with the current docs. So this is a great pattern for any tool with fast changing features. So I think what's more interesting here about this is that if you are building with Claude Code or any other coding tool, you can prompt it to say, does it support blank in here? But I think you can say check the Convex documentation to make sure that this is going to work, or any sort of prompt that's basically going to push to check documentation, I think is a really, really good way of using these AI coding tools. Now, Claude Code is going to basically is guided to do that specifically anyway, but if you're using something else, you can use that to help you guide the AI into checking the documentation first. Also, Claude Code is designed to give ultra short answers. It's a deliberate user experience choice, and this is because if you're in the command line interface, if you're in the terminal, When you have a lot of text, it becomes very, very difficult to read because all of the characters are spaced the same. And basically, this is just going to give you shorter answers to anything that you're asking. Now, this can make it more difficult if you're a beginner getting started with these tools. Ultimately, Claude Code is a tool that is designed for developers, people who write code every single day. It's a coding tool, Claude Code. So if you are a beginner getting just started with using Claude Code, or if you are non-technical as well, asking explain why this works or show your reasoning when you're learning is really, really useful. So if you're building something, just prompt to say like, can you break down why this works for me in a bit more detail? Can you explain why you made this choice instead of that choice? Can you give me the pros and cons of the plan that you're suggesting? Just prompt it to give you a bit more information so that you can learn as you go. So we've got another one here, which is one word answers are best and explain non-trivial bash. Now, this is more like developer terminology, but I think what's interesting here is it says, as a user, when you see a command explanation, treat it as a checkpoint to stop and ask questions. So if Claude Code is basically explaining like any commands that it's doing, you can use that as a checkpoint to dig in a little bit further, ask questions about why it's doing that, and use that as a prompt to kind of ask questions from Claude Code or any other AI coding tool as you're building. This one, number 7 here, is super interesting because it's saying follow conventions is the secret sauce for real-world code bases. So most AI code fails not on correctness, but on fit. So it's basically the right code, but it doesn't fit in with the conventions of your project, of the way that your kind of project is constructed. And so this is basically prompting it to follow the conventions first to match existing patterns in your project. So you can do the same thing if you're using other coding tools. As a user, you can say, match the existing patterns in my convex database when you're adding a new feature, for example. So that's just a good tip to kind of add that to like the best practice of using these tools. There's some other instructions here that are more related to like developer best practice and kind of development terminology. It's saying that it's using the to-do right is used as a trust and execution control mechanism. So this is just for plan mode when it creates that to-do list. The to-do list is basically the kind of source of truth for the things that it's doing first. It says ask for a plan as to-dos before changes, but when you use plan mode in Claude Code, it comes up with a to-do list anyway. So that's kind of going to guide it in that way. One of the interesting ones here is that it's saying parallel tool calls is a performance optimization baked into policy. Now this is interesting because for the longest time, I think the guidance for using AI coding tools is basically one thing at a time. Let's just prompt one thing at a time. But actually it's suggesting here that as a user, because it's basically doing parallel tool calls at the same time, so Claude Code will spin up, different subagents to go and do different tasks for you as part of a more complex request. It's basically, you can bundle requests together. So it's saying check status, run tests, and show failing file instead of one at a time. So you don't have to break it down to the smallest, most granular task. You can do these kind of combination of tasks that make sense in the context of this overall thing that you're building. So if you're building one feature, then you can do a few tasks related to that feature at once. I think that is super interesting. So don't worry. Obviously, there's like a limit, and finding the balance between like what is the right level of complexity to give to an AI coding agent is different for different tools. And it's also, there's a sweet spot in there of the amount of complexity that an AI coding tool can legitimately handle without kind of losing context or going off on a different track. So I think the tips that we can kind of mainly take from this is first to provide URLs as documentation for your coding model that you're using, for your coding agent that you're using. Second is to prompt to ask your AI coding agent to check documentation before it actually does anything. Third is to prompt to ask the AI coding agent to explain itself to it, to show the reasoning behind the decision it's made if you are learning and if you are just getting started, or you just want to know more information about why it made that decision and what it does, just so that you have a better context of what you're actually building. Prompting to follow the conventions and the patterns in your code base is also a super useful one. And then testing to find the balance of the amount of kind of tasks you can do at the same time in the same context, because Claude Code is going to be spinning up parallel tool calls and parallel agents to kind of deal with those requests and build what you're asking for as kind of the way that it's built. So now that we've broken down Claude Code's system prompt and pulled out some lessons that you can learn from that, I'm going to jump into looking at Cursor's system prompt instead and see if we can learn anything from that as well. So let's copy over the first bit of this prompt here into ChatGPT, and I'm going to go back and we're going to look through the system prompts here. So let's go to Cursor. And we've got the agent prompt 2.0 here. Now this is a much longer file. Let's just copy all of this and we're going to put it in here. And then I'm going to send this same thing off to ChatGPT as well to see what we can get back here. So let's see what we can learn from the cursor system prompt here about AI coding. So I'm just going to go through this, read through this, and then I'm going to highlight anything here that I think is useful for anyone working with these AI coding tools who is non-technical, who's just learning and getting started with building with AI coding tools. The first one that I want to call out here is the second one, because this may seem counterintuitive to what we learned from the Claude Code system prompt. To split multi-part questions, a single semantic search is bad at parallel tasks. So basically, the prompt doesn't like it when you ask multiple questions at the same time. So I think this is slightly different from asking a coding agent to build a feature or to build multiple things at the same time. Or it may just be different between how Cursor's agent works and how Claude Code's agent works. But what we're saying here with Cursor is that basically you want to break your questions into a sequence. So if you are asking for something specific, like says what is auth service responsible for, or you would say how does authentication work? What's the user journey for authentication in this app? Instead of saying what's the user journey for authentication and how does it work, you would just break that down into two separate questions. So if you are using ask mode in Cursor, or you're just asking a question, definitely break up your questions into separate questions so that you can ask one at a time, and you'll get a better result from Cursor here, I think. The next one here that is really interesting is that Cursor is specifically instructed to not ask the user if it can proceed, and then plan and execute immediately. So I think if you're non-technical, you might have felt this. This works really well if you're a developer, basically, because if you know what you're doing, and it works well for non-technical people if you've learned these tools and you understand how they work and you've built, several projects and you're kind of familiar with Cursor. But this will mean that Cursor basically leans into planning and executing even without asking you if it can do that. And so if you're giving it vague prompts and if you're giving it vague direction, it's going to go off and it's going to do something that maybe isn't correct, isn't right, isn't in line with your project conventions, and it isn't going to build something that actually works. So I think one thing to take away from this point here of don't ask the user if you can proceed, plan and execute immediately is if you don't want a coding agent and especially some of the more advanced coding agents like Claude Code and Cursor here, if you don't want it to go away and do something without your approval, especially if you're learning, this is great if you've learned already, but if you're learning, you might want to add to your prompt, create a plan for me and don't build anything yet. And one little phrase that I always like to use if I'm not sure is just to say, don't build anything yet, just create a plan first. Now you can put Cursor into plan mode and it will give you the plan and then ask you to approve this. So this has changed since the system prompt came in. But if you're using some AI coding tools still, it will lean heavily on going and building something first. And also because that's going to be the quickest way to get you to a result, even if it doesn't work. And that is something that creates a good user experience when you first use it, but isn't exactly super useful if you want to actually build something that works. And so I would always say, if you're unsure, just get it to do a plan first. If you're unsure, ask it to explain its rationale, ask it to not do any, don't make any changes, and help me explain how this works before you actually build anything. Just get it to kind of prompt it to stop and give you a bit more information before you actually let it run off and do its own thing. And then this last one here is super interesting as well. Start broad and run multiple searches with different wording. So if you're trying to find something, if you're trying to understand something within your project, within your code base, try different angles on the question. So this is an example here, like how does login work? Where is the session created? Where is JWT verified? So you can ask, don't expect always that first answer that you're going to get back is going to be exactly correct. And it might not give you the right information that you want to get. So if you are getting a mixed kind of result from like asking the same question over and over again, just try rephrasing it, framing it in a different way, asking something slightly different, maybe asking how something else works related to that and then prompting it to go in a different direction. These are kind of non-deterministic tools, so they kind of will always give you a slightly different answer. So trying that different language and that different kind of prompting strategy can help to figure out if you're coming up against issues, if you're coming up against a bug, to kind of help you figure out the answer here. And we've got some lessons here at the bottom, like if you're building software with AI tools, some meta lessons. So design for failure modes, infinite loops, giant file overreading, interactive terminal hangs. This is basically just this is some of the cursor kind of guidelines here. If you're non-technical, learning Claude Code, a simple playbook, ask behavior questions first, then ask for exact references, only then request changes. If it gets stuck, add constraints. So I think this isn't necessarily the exact pattern that you need to follow, but I think this just leads into that kind of same stuff that we got out of the Claude Code system prompt, where we're basically saying we want to ask questions. The coding agents that we're using here, especially the ones that are tailored to developers, are more instructed to go and make changes, to go and actually do stuff, to execute things based on the user's request, because the requests that they're expecting are probably more specific and more developer kind of in more like developer language. And this is why like learning the terminology is good on one side as a user, and learning the way that the apps are actually constructed is really good as a user, because then you'll be able to ask better questions from the coding agents. But also, if you're starting out, if you're learning and you're jumping into Cursor or Claude Code, make sure you're asking questions of these tools and you're getting it to break it down for you. Ultimately, although these tools write code, they can also act as just an AI chat where you ask questions about the things that you're doing and get it to give you suggestions and get it to give you rationale. And also you can start to kind of like more reverse prompt as well, by saying, here's the outcome I want to achieve. Can you give me a few different directions that we could go, and give me the pros and cons of each so I can evaluate them before we move forwards? And using that phrase of like, don't change anything or don't edit anything yet, just to kind of control what the agent is doing before you actually go in and it writes a bunch of code. And so those are the Claude Code and the Cursor system prompts. Broken down a little bit. Hopefully you'll learn a few things from these system prompts and how these coding tools work. If you are a non-technical person just getting started with these tools, hopefully you've learned a few techniques that you can use in your kind of AI coding learning journey as well. And let's get into my final thought. So from those system prompts for the leading AI coding tools in the world, you can start to get a sense of how you should use those tools best. And also, if you're non-technical, you can start to get a sense of how you should start to use those tools to learn as you go. If you're not a developer, it can feel incredibly overwhelming going into using these tools and just thinking, well, it's just going off and doing a load of stuff. It's building stuff that I don't understand. I don't know what it's doing. And then I don't even know kind of what I should be prompting or what questions I should be asking. So I think these kind of system prompts give you an idea, and those things that we kind of highlighted from going through that as well, of how you can start to use these tools, approach them in a less intimidating way, and actually lean into how they are designed to work rather than feeling like you're fighting against them all the time. Now, if you are interested in building software with AI tools, or you want to turn that app idea into an actual AI business, I've got a community helping people do that over at school.com/AI apps, so you can head over there to find out more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.